If we can unlock 3 doors, we can unlock
You
20.
don't even know how many there are.
Doesn't matter if it's 100. If we've got a lock, we can make a key.
After 404 days, he had crafted 39 wooden keys that could open 15 iron doors throughout the prison. Making keys turned out to be the most effective escape method. He would place paper over the lock opening to trace its outline, then insert a piece of paper and pencil into the lock to measure its depth. Whenever he got the chance, he'd study the keys hanging from the guards' belts, sketching out their shapes from memory. Next came the actual key making. But what materials could he use? His daily work in the prison workshop gave him the perfect opportunity to collect wood, but how could he smuggle it out? He hid several small wooden strips inside sandpaper and stuffed them into the bottom of his thermos. When guards inspected the thermos, he'd tap it twice and pour out the coffee inside. Thanks to the sandpaper camouflage, the guards never noticed anything suspicious, and he successfully smuggled out his key-making materials. At night, he'd saw the wood into shape, sand it smooth with sandpaper, apply glue to bond the different parts together, then place the finished keys inside a lampshade to dry and set. Once complete, he inserted the key into the lock, and the iron door opened. But his smile quickly faded when he realized the second door's lock was on the outside. While working in the shop, he spotted a hand crank mechanism that sparked an idea. He immediately began building a simple pulley system, drilling 2 holes in a wooden board, boring another hole in the top of a mop handle, then using screws to connect the pieces. He attached the key to the crank system, extended the stick through the window, and slowly turned the mechanism until the door opened. But then a sniper glanced his way. In his panic, he dropped the key, and he could hear the footsteps of a guard making rounds. He pulled out his chewing gum, chewed it up, and stuck it to the end of the stick to retrieve his fallen key. After several attempts, he finally managed to stick the key and quietly pull it back inside. The next day, he buried the finished keys and traded some of his belongings with new inmates for civilian clothes and newspapers containing maps of the area around the prison. He and his cellmate decided to do a practice run. Using their homemade keys, they unlocked their cell door and slipped out, making their way to the first floor where the guard station was located. Just then, a guard began his routine night patrol, so they quickly ducked into a storage closet near the stairwell. With no one watching the first floor, they decided to continue working on the doors. Meanwhile, the guard was checking their cell, but the decoy human figures they'd made from bundled blankets fooled him completely. At the final door, they tried key after key, but nothing worked. Their cellmate back in the room gave the prearranged retreat signal. They hid back in the storage closet just as the guard came downstairs. Early the next morning, the warden woke him up because he'd overslept. Suspicious about what he'd been up to, the warden began a cell inspection. A piece of the key happened to fall on the floor. The warden picked it up and asked what it was. He quickly explained that it was a photo stand.